Hello everybody and welcome, I am Boom, and while the Summer of Legendaries is still, for the most part, going on, I wanted to do something that was very much far away from it. Today, we're going to see if we can take the Zubat of the Sea, and see if we can beat the game Pokemon FireRed with a single Tentacool. Tentacool's especially defensive Pokemon, while most of the other stats are a bit lackluster. We do get some solid moves at our disposal, including Poison, Water, and Ice-type moves. There's also a few setup moves with Barrier. I think we'll be able to win this challenge, honestly, but I could also see us being close to level 100 and having to rely on pretty decent luck to be able to actually do so, especially if we're able to do so at a bit lower of a level. We have a quirky nature, which means neutral stat gains, and I am more than okay with that. Really, I do rarely reset encounters unless I'm doing a stupid challenge, like a physical attacking Chansey run that I'm kicking around the idea of. We have the Liquid Ooze ability, which could be useful, especially since we're giving the rival Bulbasaur. At the end it'll be a Venusaur, which is likely going to be the hardest for us to face, but Bulbasaur and I think Ivysaur both will end up using Leech Seed, so we can actually turn that back against them. In the meantime, though, we do have a rival battle in the lab to get through, and it does not go well. With only having Poison Sting, which is neutral at best, we're just not doing enough damage. Combining that with our bad attack and our bad physical defense, it doesn't really take too long for us to inevitably go down. So at the beginning of the game, it takes us a while. We want to go ahead and level up on the wild Pokemon, then after gaining a few levels, it's time for us to fight the trainers. Now we do have a couple options. We can either try the rival fight, or we can go ahead and try Brock. At level 10, we try the rival, and we start with Poison Sting on Pidgey and Poison at first turn, which is good given the fact that we immediately get Sand attacked. After that, we miss, then take it to Yellow next turn. We do manage to take it down with a little under half HP remaining. Unfortunately, from there, we do try our best, but we just end up going down. So, what we do, just to see what happens, is that we go ahead and at least attempt the Brock fight as we make our way back through the forest, and we actually run out of PP on purpose. Poison Sting itself isn't very effective, but at least with Struggle, we can do a little bit more damage, right? Well, no. With us doing damage to ourselves with every attack, we don't even make it past the Geodude before we go down. So, sadly, we don't have much of a choice here, so we have to level up. And it isn't until we get to level 19 and learn Acid that the rival fight even goes in our favor. Even being double the level of the Pidgey, it's still not a one-shot, but it just uses Tackle, then goes down. You have Bulbasaur that comes out, we take it to Yellow, and it also just uses Tackle before going down. Let's head back to the gym, and we'll see if we can do that fight, but honestly, I don't feel super confident in that. So what we do is we try to swap between Acid and Supersonic in hopes that the Pokemon will damage itself, and you can see from the footage here that we do have that luck occasionally, but for the most part, it doesn't go too well. So we have to gain a few more levels and take Bubble Beam. With Bubble Beam, this battle essentially goes from impossible to an absolute breeze. This was definitely a really rough beginning, but I wanted to show that we did try at the lower levels rather than immediately leveling up. Now we can finally start making some headway through the early part of the game. While we're traveling, it's at this time I like to remind you to subscribe to the channels, watch hours, algorithm. We have memberships available, join the Discord. Do you really want to hear all that again? If you do, check out some of my earlier videos, but for tonight, I have a feeling that this video is going to be long enough, so why would I cover it again? Also, am I putting off the next fight by rambling a little bit? Why, yes I am. As we get to Cerulean, we can either fight Misty or we can go ahead and try the rival. Let's try the rival fight first. The rival starts with Pidgeotto, and Acid does good damage with a crit as we get hit with Sand Attack. Next turn, we do land a Bubble Beam and take it down. Abra is out and can't do anything, so it goes down easy. Rattata's next, and we miss as it uses Tail Whip. Quick Attack does decent damage, and we take it to Red, tanking another hit, then knocking it out. As Bulbasaur comes out, we're doing solid damage, and Leech Seed is kind of a double-edged sword. It damages the Bulbasaur, which is cool, but it also damages us as well. We do miss our next two attacks, get put to sleep, and ultimately that's what takes us down. On our very next attempt, it basically goes the same except that we don't have to deal with Sand Attack. So we get to the Bulbasaur and we're doing solid damage with Acid, and we get taken all the way down to 5 HP before we take it down for a very narrow victory. From there, we go through the route to the north, and we can go ahead and grab a few levels, and I actually feel somewhat hopeful for the Misty fight. I don't think it'll be easy, but it can't be any worse than trying to fight Brock with struggle, right? Let's find out. Staryu is first, and we use Acid, taking it to yellow as it sets up Harden, and then it goes down next turn. After that, Starmie is out, and we're doing about a fifth of a damage with Acid. It does use Swift for solid damage, and we get a lower defense as we take it to yellow. It does heal up with Recover, but now we're doing a good chunk of damage because of the defense drop. It takes us down to 6 HP with the next turn, but, and only due to the defense drop, we take it down to, once again, barely win a battle. This Pokemon is going to stress me out because once we aboard the ship against my better judgment, I don't bother with fighting all of the optional trainers on the ship. I get the items that I need, and then after that, we're going to go ahead and fight the rival. If for some reason we can't beat the rival, then we'll face the other trainers, and then if we can't beat Surge, we can always come back. But honestly, we're probably going to outspeed all 3 of his Pokemon, so I don't know if we'll be able to one-shot. But for now, let's try the rival fight. Pidgeotto's up first, and we open with Bubble Beam, taking it down with a critical hit. Next out is Kadabra, and we continue with Bubble Beam, taking it to red as it uses Confusion for solid damage before going down. After that, you have Raticate, who goes to red with Bubble Beam. Hyper Fang does a good chunk of damage before it goes down. After that, it's his Ivysaur, and we use Acid to take it to not quite half. Vine Whip is doing pretty good damage, and we do get put to sleep and taken down. The next attempt actually ends up being a first on one of these challenges for me. We make it all the way back to the Ivysaur and we get Leech Seeded. Then, we get put to sleep, but due to the Liquid Ooze ability, the Leech Seed ends up knocking out the Bulbasaur while we're still snoozing the day away. Don't think that's ever happened before for me. After we grab Cut, then we'll head to the gym, defeat the Trash Can puzzle, and we'll just see how things go against Surge. It could be easy, or it could be rough. Voltorb is up first, and we open with Acid, taking it to half as it misses Sonic Boom. Then we finish it off with Bubble Beam. Then you have Pikachu, and we outspeed and Bubble Beam it to avoid Static and take it down in one go. Finally, you have Raichu, and Bubble Beam takes it to not quite half as it uses Thunder Wave. It begins to double team, and we connect with Bubble Beam, taking it to yellow. Shockwave does some solid damage, and we manage to break through Paralysis, land another Bubble Beam to take it down, winning the battle and grabbing the third badge with finally not a very narrow victory. Alright, so we gotta go ahead and go through the Dark Cave, and honestly it's hit or miss on difficulty given the Slowpoke trainers. After making our way through though, it's time for us to get some upgrades, and one is through level up, the other is just through gambling. We can get Ice Beam to give us some coverage, and then we also learn Barrier to help boost our defense when needed. Honestly, we're probably gonna need that. Here soon, when we get through this little part of the game, I'll also replace Bubble Beam with Surf, and that'll most likely be our moveset as we go into the back half of the game. I'd like to be able to get Sludge Bomb, but unfortunately that requires doing the Sevi Islands, so I'm probably going to opt for Giga Drain, but only time will tell. I tend to write these scripts as I go along, so even I'm not 100% sure how things are going to go yet. For now though, let's go ahead, we'll fight Erica. Erica first starts off with Victory Bell, and we open with Ice Beam, taking it to red, and Victory Bell misses its Stun Spore. So Erica does heal, and we take it right back to red, then knock it out. Tangela is up next, and can't really do much of anything, so it goes down in one shot. Then, finally, you have Vileplume, and Ice Beam takes it to below half, and we freeze it. Erica spends the next turn on a full heal to unfreeze it, so we knock it out for a pretty easy victory. That actually went better than I thought. We only have one more thing that we gotta clear up here in Celadon City, and that is toppling a crime organization. So let's fight Giovanni. Giovanni first starts with Onyx, and we open with Bubble Beam, taking it down in one shot. Then we can repeat the process with Rhyhorn, taking it down. Kangaskhan is his final Pokemon, and Bubble Beam doesn't do much, and we get punched right in the face. So we go ahead and Barrier up, then lower its defense with Acid, doing a decent chunk more before the next turn. We swap to Ice Beam, taking it to red, and another bite takes us to 12 HP before we knock it out to barely win us this battle. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and grab our Fly Pokemon, head back to the tower, and then we can go ahead and talk about Tentacool. Pidgeotto is first, and we take it down with an Ice Beam. As Kadabra comes down, we take it to red with Acid, and Confusion does solid damage before it goes down. Gyarados comes out, and we set up Barrier as it begins to Thrash. Ice Beam does decent damage, and Thrash does take us below half into 21 HP before we knock it out. Growlithe comes out, and Bubble Beam is able to one-shot it. Then, finally, you have Ivysaur, and we Ice Beam it, taking it to red. As it goes for Sleep Powder, Razor-Leaf takes us to 5 HP, but we wake up early for a very clutched victory. Now that we're at a solid midway point through the game, and I remembered that my fan was on, so if you're still here, thank you for hanging out. Hopefully the fan wasn't too much noise, I'll find out in editing. We can talk a little bit about how Tentacool is doing, and honestly, this is why I'm primarily doing legendaries for the summer. Most battles with this little dude takes multiple attempts. I'm just not showing them all for the time purposes involved. Its evolved form does get a bit more bulk to it, so it can take some hits and fire them back, but this first form, it's been rough to say the least. I still like this Pokemon and its typing and its moves that are really good. It's just so physically frail that unless you set up Barrier, you're probably going to go down. Getting Giga Drain from Erica will allow us some healing during the Elite Four, but first we gotta make it that far. The good news is we have 2 gym matchups in the back half that will be great against, and only one that will be able to deal super effective damage to us. For now, though, we don't have either of those things going for us or against us as we try to fight Koga. Coughing is first, and we open with Barrier to make sure that we can tank the hits coming a little bit better. We then swap to Surf and take it to a Sliver as it hits with Sludge. Koga does heal up and we get a high roll on the damage and take it down. Muck comes out and we're doing about a fifth. It does begin to minimize and we miss, then hit it with a critical hit Ice Beam. Sludge does solid damage to us given the levels catching up, but we take it sadly into healing range. Now, after the heal up, Muck begins to minimize again, and though we do end up getting some good hits and take it down, we only have 2 HP for the rest of the battle. The next Coughing comes out, we take it to red, and then go down. This takes about a dozen attempts, so we open the battle the same way, starting with Barrier, but this time we take Coughing down in one go. Then with the Muck, although it sets up Minimize a couple times, we get a lucky critical hit that actually ends up knocking it out, rather than leaving it into the healing range, so it's down sooner than usual, and that means that we have half our HP to spare this time around. Then, with the Coughing, we use Surf to take it to red, but it can't do nearly as much as the others, so even though Koga does heal up, we just take it down a few turns later. And then as Wheezing comes out, we use Surf, taking it to red with a critical hit, and Sludge does take us to 26 HP, but then we take it out and win the battle. Now we go into Silph Co, and the good news is if we lose this battle, there are plenty of trainers and vitamins for us to be able to grab through the tower, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it isn't even close. We try this battle right after arriving in the tower and get absolutely crushed. And given how badly we lost, I don't even think that it's really worth covering. We could typically make it past Pidgeot, but that's honestly about it. So, we go through the tower, we fight through the grunts, we grab all the vitamins, and wouldn't you know it, we're still getting wrecked. These losses take us a long time to get through, and as always, I'll still play some of them in the background so you can kind of see what's going on. But this takes us all the way to level 55. Pidgeot is up first, so we use Ice Beam, taking it down with a critical hit. Alakazam comes out, and we swap to Surf, taking it to almost red as it uses Calm Mind before going down. Gyarados is out, and we swap over to Ice Beam, taking it to not quite half and getting a freeze. It does actually stay frozen long enough for us to take it down. Growlithe at this stage isn't much of a threat, and it goes down to a single Surf. And then finally you have his Venusaur, and we use Ice Beam, taking it to below half and freezing it too. And since it stays frozen, we can take it down to go ahead and win the battle. This took a few attempts, and I know that this was definitely due to the freeze log, but I'm not going to complain. I am wondering why we did not get this last attempts, but we're going to go ahead and move on and see how things go at Giovanni. Giovanni sends out Nidorino, and we use Surf, taking it down with a critical hit. Kangaskhan is next, so we use Surf, taking it to about half as it uses Rage, and another Surf takes it down. Rhyhorn isn't a problem at all and goes down in one shot. And then finally you have Nidoqueen, and Surf takes a deal as Double Kick does a bit of damage, and then it goes down afterwards. Perfect. Now this time around, I don't forget to fight Sabrina, and we head there right after the battle to make sure we don't forget. It is possible that she could win this battle if she actually focuses on attacking for once, since the Alakazam might outspeed and will probably, if not one-shot us, definitely two-shot us. So we'll go ahead and see how things go. Kadabra comes out, and Surf is able to hit hard, downing it in one go. Mr. Mime comes out, and we take it to yellow, as it only uses Barrier, so we take it down next turn. Then, Alakazam is up next, and we actually do outspeed, taking it to yellow. And since it only uses Future Sight, we can take it down as well. Venomoth is her last Pokemon, and we swap to Ice Beam, taking it below half as Psybeam does a bit of damage, and then we take it down to win the battle. Now, the next two gym battles, like I was saying before, should actually be pretty decent for us, given the fact that we have an actual type advantage, and unlike we did with Brock, up until we leveled up, we actually have moves that we can use that are super effective against both Blaine and Giovanni. So we'll go ahead, we'll see how things go against Blaine. I don't think this will require a level up, but I also didn't think we'd be this high of a level to begin with. Blaine starts off with Growlithe, and we open with Surf, taking it down in just one shot. Ponyta's his next Pokemon, and we can take it down as well. Then after that, Rapidash comes out, and we can continue with our one-shot Surf sweep. And then finally, it's Arcanine, and we take it to Red, and it uses Takedown, nailing us with a critical hit all the way to 28 HP, but then the recoil damage takes it out, winning us a very easy battle with a pretty odd ending. We deny the Sevi Islands quest, though, fun fact, you can find Sludge Bomb there if you weren't listening earlier in the video. Like I said, if I had more time, I would probably do it, but the whole side quest is a bit of a pain. We grab a few vitamins that we can, and then after that, we go ahead and go to finish off the last of the gym leaders. Rhyhorn is his first Pokemon, and we open with, you guessed it, Surf, and that one-shots it. Dugtrio is up next, so we continue with Surf, taking it down as well. His next Rhyhorn comes out, we can take that down. Then Nidoqueen is out, and we take it down as well. From there, he only has Nidoking, and a Surf is able to take it down, winning us the final battle and the badge. Alright, let's go ahead. We'll see how that pre-rival fight goes before the Elite Four goes. Pidgeot is up first, and Ice Beam takes it to yellow. His Wing Attack does decent damage, and we take it down. After that, Alakazam comes out, and we use Surf, taking it to only half, and then Psychic absolutely wrecks us, taking us down to 3 HP, but we do take it down. Oh, hey, 5 HP after a level up. Yeah, we're fine. Growlithe comes out, and we use Surf, taking it down in one go, and we do the same with Rhyhorn. Then with Gyarados, we spend our Giga Drains gaining health, and it's basically just putting us back to about 7 HP over and over again as we heal up, get taken down, basically yo-yoing. And we make it to Venusaur, but it just ends up taking us down. So we do try this battle a lot, but it turns out that the first time we faced Alakazam, we lived off a low damage roll, and every single attempt afterwards, it gets a higher damage roll, and we just keep going down. So without much of a choice, we level up and try again. At level 65, we open with Barrier against Pidgeot, and it uses Wing Attack. We swap over to Ice Beam, and we take it to Red as another Wing Attack connects and goes down. Alakazam is up next, and we open with Surf, taking it to below half as it uses Calm Mind, so we're able to take it down. Growlithe is the next Pokemon, and we use Surf, taking it down. Rhyhorn, it's up next, and we just continue with the one-shots. Then as Gyarados comes out, we use Ice Beam, taking it to not quite half. It does set up Rain Dance, so we start Giga Draining to gain back the health that we know we'll be losing, making this a longer battle, but we do come out on top after some back and forth. Last up is Venusaur, and we use Ice Beam, taking it to not quite half as it uses Growth, and we use another Ice Beam to take it to Red. Razor Leaf connects, taking us down to 37 HP, but we can take it down to win the battle. Now that that fight is out of the way, we can go ahead and talk about the Elite Four, and honestly, I think most of the Elite Four is going to be a challenge, and here's why. Lorelei, even with Giga Drain, her Pokemon are not going to be a one-shot unless we level up a lot. Her Lapras is going to be an absolute monster. Bruno, I don't think Bruno is going to be too much of an issue. Between typing and us focusing on the special defensive side of things, we should be okay. Agatha, it depends. As long as we don't get put to sleep, we should, in theory, be alright. Haunter also knows Curse, which could be an issue, but she usually doesn't send him out until the very end, so I think we'll be okay. Then with Lance, that'll be a toss-up. If we can outspeed and one-shot the dragons, we'll be fine, but that still leaves us with a Gyarados and an Aerodactyl to deal with. Speaking of Gyarados, the rival fight at the end will also continue to have that. Out of all of his Pokemon, the Venusaur is the one that I'm least concerned with. It does take up that extra turn to set up Solar Beam, so as long as we two-shot it, we'll be fine. Or, best case scenario, we just freeze it first turn. Now, once again, for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and just do a brief overview of the Lorelei fight because we're just getting annihilated in this fight. The Dugong and the Cloyster aren't a problem, but the Slowbro? That's surprising, and unsurprisingly, the Lapras are roadblocks. Slowbro having Calm Mind makes our attacks do next to nothing after a little bit, and then the Lapras, that's just able to do solid damage. So let's show a winning attempt all the way to level 75. The Dugong were able to take down pretty easily, swapping between Surf and Giga Drain, taking it down without too much of a problem. Then, with Cloyster, even with resistance, it doesn't have any special defense, so a couple Surfs after the Protect Stalls are enough to do the job. Slowbro is one we swap between Surf and Giga Drain, and it does put us to sleep, but we end up getting a lucky critical hit to take it down. Jinx goes to about half and then to red, and we do get put to sleep again, but we wake up early to take it down. And then, as Lapras comes out, we get body slammed and paralyzed, but we're able to take it down, but only because we were able to heal up some from Giga Drain. Otherwise, we probably would have lost this again. On to Bruno, and I really do hope that this is a little bit easier. The first and the second Onix are a one-shot with Ice Beam, and then with Hitmonchan, it comes out. We set up Barrier, and it misses Rock Tomb. We take it below half with Surf, and it misses Rock Tomb again before going down. Then, Hitmonlee comes out, and we use Surf again, taking it to half as Mega Kick does some solid damage before it goes down. From there, you only have Machamp to worry about, and Surf takes it to half as it uses Bulk Up. We use Ice Beam to take it a bit lower, but make it so the Berry takes it out of healing range, which it does, and then even with the Scary Face drop in speed, we actually still outspeed it and knock it out with Surf to win the battle. Alright, let's move on to Agatha and see how we do. Agatha starts with Gengar and it sets up Double Team, but then ends up going down. Then, as Haunter comes out, we take it to red, but it only sets up Mean Look. Agatha does heal, and we can take it back to red, then take it down without much of a problem. Her next Gengar is out, and we use Ice Beam, and it puts us to sleep before hitting us really hard. We do get an early wake up and knock it out. Then, with Golbat, we take it to red with Ice Beam and actually get the freeze, so that we can just take it down. As Arbok comes out, we take it to yellow, get hit with Sludge to 29 HP before we take it down. Not gonna lie, that took about 20 attempts due to Curse, Hypnosis, and your typical Agatha lottery stuff that you typically deal with, so nothing too crazy, just more annoying than anything. Alright. The battle with Lance, well, this one kind of depends. On normal attempts, we get taken down by the Gyarados. On our luckier attempts, we make it to Dragonair, but it turns out that we're only taking it to red, so it's just able to either paralyze us or just flat out knock us out with Ice Beam. At level 80, we set up Barrier, and then with the Gyarados, we do the same thing we've done with every other Gyarados fight between last time and this time, swapping between Ice Beam and Giga Drain to stay somewhat healthy before taking it down. At this level, we can now take the Dragonair down with one Ice Beam, and the next Dragonair suffers the same fate. Then after that, Dragonite comes out and we continue with Ice Beam, taking it to a Sliver, as Outrage does solid damage. The Berry activates, it's also locked in Outrage, so we take it down. From there, it's out to Aerodactyl, we Ice Beam it to take it to yellow, as it uses Scary Face. Then, Ancient Power does a decent bit of damage, but it goes down to win us the battle. One more battle to go. Pidgeotta's up first and goes to half and uses Feather Dance before it goes down. Then, with Alakazam, we take it below half as Psychic does solid damage before going down. With Rhydon, we use that as a chance to heal up using Giga Drain to one-shot it and getting most of our HP back, but that's our last Giga Drain. Gyarados comes out and we use Barrier, then just start firing off Ice Beams, mostly hoping for a freeze, as it uses Dragon Rage a few times and actually manages to take us all the way down to 36 HP. Arcanine is out and uses Extreme Speed, and we use Surf to take it down, but we do not have much HP left. Venusaur comes out and we take it to a bit below half as it's up Solar Beam, and our next Ice Beam takes it out to win the battle, and finally putting this run to end. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that run. Back when I did my water-type Nuzlocke, I want to say that Tentacool carried the back half of the game on his squishy back, but it's also been like a year and a half, so I definitely don't remember. Tentacool's still a cool Pokemon that I like, but definitely not for a solo challenge. That was not easy. I still had fun though, but for our fun tier list, I think I'd put this into D tier. It had a lot of parts that required a lot of attempts because I try not to level up immediately. And on the Lorelei fight, I actually reset so many times, my totally legit console that I use for these actually crashed. So even it wasn't happy about my life choices. In the meantime, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing, but this Saturday, I'm actually going to be doing a 12-hour stream, both on Twitch and YouTube, possibly doing some of next week's challenge on that. So I hope to see you there. It's my stream anniversary. Plus, my roof is leaking pretty consistently. I'll actually show a video here if you've made it this far into the video. Yeah, not great. So I'm going to try to get a few dollars put together for that. Hopefully at least enough for a solid down payment, but a work buddy of mine is pretty handy. So we'll kind of see what happens there. Maybe it'll only cost me a little bit of money. I don't know. But for now, make sure to go ahead, take care of yourselves. Stay hydrated because it is still hotter than all get out outside. And as always, if you like the video, even if you didn't like the video, hit the like and subscribe button because it really does help me out. And until next time, everybody, peace out.